Hey, it's Jamey. I'm smiling because when I was younger, I used to play on the beach. My family and I used to go down to the Eastern Shore, Ocean City, Maryland, to be exact, and used to play on the beach. And like most young kids, I could be out in the sun, playing in the sand all day long. And I was reminded of the time where I was down at the beach trying to build a sand castle. And you know, you need the sand, you need to get the water in the bucket. But my bucket, my little plastic bucket, had a couple of small leaks. So I would run to the ocean, fill it up with water, and then run back and then kind of use the bucket in the sand and trying to build some sand castle. The problem was it wouldn't last long because the leaks of the bucket would eventually get all the water out of it. So then I have to run back, quickly fill up the bucket, and then bring it back and then try to build the sandcastle before all the water leaked out of it. Well, what's interesting is for many business owners, this leaky bucket is exactly what's happening in your business. See, you put a lot of work and a lot of effort. You're treating patients, you're taking care of the community, doing what you love to do, and of course then billing those visits and generating revenue, only to have that revenue start to leak out of your practice. And there's 4 ways that I've discovered in which a lot of money, in upwards of, in some cases, $10,000, $12,000 a month, could be leaking out of your business. And here are the 4 ways. 1 is cancellations. If your cancellation rate or percent arrival rate is at or above or is above 8%, which would be 92% arrival, then that is a potential area that you're leaking money. So many people I talk to are hovering around 13, 14% cancellations. Well, that's a lot of money. And not only is it a lot of revenue, you're also not able to treat the patient because the patient isn't in your office. So if you have high cancellations, start adding in some things to reduce those cancellations. Start tightening up those practices. The second one, which is a huge one, is plan of care. So often, and I'm guilty of this when I first started too, so often we don't schedule out the full plan of care. If you don't schedule out the full plan of care, there's less of a commitment from the patient. There's more potential that something will come up during the physical therapy time and they just won't have time to schedule. And it costs tons and tons of visits. So you're leaking money out of that. The third thing, a lot of people don't necessarily think of, but the third thing came to me when I was treating and marketing to doctors. And this has to do with consistent treatment plans. So what happens is I would get a referral from a doctor and the patient would come in. It would be a typical low back pain patient. Let's assume all the medical history and everything was relatively the same. But the treatment plan would be very different. One treatment plan would be 2 to 3 times a week for 6 to 8 weeks. And all of a sudden, another doctor would say 3 times a week for 4 weeks. Another would say 2 times a week for 3 weeks. And the same doctors would deliver the same treatment plans almost regardless of the diagnosis. And what happened in my practice is different therapists would create different treatment plans, even on similar diagnoses. Well, this was costing a ton in potential visits because of the lack of consistency. So one of the things that I did is I created guidelines around what is should be the diagnosis for a particular, or should be the plan of care for a particular diagnosis. This was a great training tool, especially for the new people that really didn't know how many times a week. And with the increase in direct access and more people coming directly to us, we have to be really good at making sure that at least within our clinic, there's consistency in what we're seeing people for. So that's number 3. And number 4 is one of my favorites, patient delight. And this is all about creating raving fans. Too many times we don't create a great experience for our patients that is so much so that they go tell other people. So making sure that you are meeting people's needs and also being clear on expectations, that creates a better experience for patients and more likely for them not only to come back in the future, but to be a raving fan and an advocate for your place and tell their friends and family about you. So those are 4 ways that you could be leaking money right now, just like the water in the bucket at the beach where you're putting all this effort and energy, but leaking money away. So plug up those leaky holes. That revenue is yours, and you're going to do a better job treating patients. As always, feel free to provide your comments or insights on this. Thank you.